This is a Hope 1032 podcast.
To She Wasn't Born Yesterday for women who are 40 plus fabulous by the Empty Nest Chicks. I'm Janet Evans, ex-M&T Saatchi advertising creative who have won numerous radio and TV awards. Not that that'll affect us because we're doing a podcast.
And I'm Dr. Amelia Haines, who has been a medical doctor for 30 years and specialising in sexual health and mental health and relationships, and I'm generally a very useful human being.
Well, we'll find out about that, but we are here to work together.
People tell me on good authority that I am.
Really? Yes, well, they never say that to me, so I think we're the perfect hosts for She Wasn't Born Yesterday. Dr. Amelia, how are you? It's good to see you again today. You're looking fabulous. I'm a bit obsessed with that brooch you're wearing. It is in the shape of a heart. And we are going to talk to someone very special and interesting about hearts down the track, but not today. Because today we're going to talk about one of my favourite topics, which is food.
Oh, yes, I know you love food.
I love food. I love food. I think food doesn't always love me, but I love food.
You do. I know.
Especially, what I do, and this is really interesting, is
It better be.
Maybe it's not that interesting, but what I do, in my 20s, I used to be able to, chow down on the Reuben's sandwich at lunch, and then I'd have a muffin and then a chocolate bar and then a cup of coffee, and then I'd be hungry about 3 o'clock, and then, I'd power on through the day. But now, I'm 40 plus fabulous, I find that if I have a sandwich or a pasta, a leftover pasta, oh man, I gotta have a nana nap, a power nap about 3 o'clock. I just cannot function. But, the other thing I do, and this is the thing that may or may not be interesting, is what I do is I sort of balance out my diet now so that if I have a salad, I feel very, very virtuous, and that entitles me to a treat.
Okay.
But, what I do think is, and what we're here to talk to about today, is how our, nutrition needs change, the relationship we have with food, how that changes when we sort of get a bit mature, 40 plus fabulous.
True.
And what happens to our bodies and what sort of food do we actually need and how does that change? To give us a bit of food for thought, we're here with an expert today. He's a dietitian and nutritionist, and his name is Naras Lapsys, and he's in Singapore. So we've gone global, baby.
I know. We've got a guest who's international. Lovely.
And Naras, it is great to have you on our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm looking forward very much to talking to you on all fronts when it comes to food.
Ooh, okay. So what can you tell us about your background and what you actually do?
Okay, so I've got a long background. So I began my career as a research scientist. So I did a PhD back in Adelaide and then took that PhD with me to Sydney, worked for nearly 10 years on metabolic health and metabolic diseases. So I sort of started playing in the field of diabetes and other kind of health conditions that start to affect us as we all get a little older. I realized that academia really wasn't my best calling. And after 10 years in science, I extracted myself out and I did a master's degree in nutrition and dietetics.
Wow.
So academia did kind of suit you, but anyway, carry on.
Yes, I would think that qualifies as academia.
Yeah.
But what was your PhD on? What were you doing?
So I was looking at the genes that might be responsible for obesity, particularly in men. So it was quite specific. It was interesting, and it was sort of back in the sort of times when we were really starting to look at lots of different genes at one time. So technology was starting to explode. And when I started my PhD, you could only really look at one gene at a time. And then by the time I was getting to the end of my PhD, the way technology had moved and the types of tools that were available, you could look at many, many genes at one time. So it was an interesting period, but I just didn't want to be in a lab pipetting for the rest of my days. So then I moved away from the bench and with people. So I did a master's degree in nutrition and dietetics. I opened up my first nutrition consultancy in Sydney. And then really for the next 20 years, that's where I've sat. But through that 20-year period, there's been interest in sports dietitian sort of aspect of things, but then the big ticket item, which was living longer, living healthier longer, the whole concept of longevity and longevity medicine. And that's really been my major foray in the last 8 years. But of course, all the things that I've picked up along the way all fit into play now. So the science, the research, the nutrition aspect of it, the academic aspect of it, if everything, it's all falling into place now, and it's applying everything to improve people's health.
Well, like a perfect pudding. It's got all the ingredients.
It does. I was going to say, I feel like we can really take what you tell us today very, very seriously.
Yeah, you seem to have given us all of your credentials, so to speak, and we actually trust you.
That's handy. That's handy.
But it's interesting. I thought you were talking about this obesity gene, and in men, does that mean that more men are obese than women?
Not necessarily, right?
Yeah.
But men and women are obviously very different, and men accumulate fat in places different from where women do. But then interestingly, up until a certain point. So when women start to sort of experience symptoms of menopause and post-menopause, hormones start to change. Women start to take on a bit more of a male hormone aspect and then start to mimic what happens with men. But, as I said, men are different, and men can accumulate fat in and around the organs, which is called visceral fat, more so than women. And it's that fat that is one that's really linked to lots of health conditions. And so I was targeting, and it was targeting central obesity in men. That was how specific my work was.
Wow. So, so do we have kind of more tendency to put on weight as we age? And why is that, do you think?
Yeah, so for lots of different reasons. So if you sort of even think back ourselves, how much did you move around when you were younger, for example? So as we get older, we tend not to move as much. As we get older, quite often we're, also taking on board more responsibilities. You have periods of your life where you're working longer hours or you're rearing a family. And so the time that you used to spend doing the things that let you move around have changed. So that can be different. As we get older, quite often we're taking on there's more stresses or more responsibilities. And then how do we respond to that? We may end up responding by how we choose to eat. So there's, lots of things can send us down that path. The kind of medications that we might take, where our hormones lie, whether we've slowly started to develop the health conditions that ultimately really impact us later on. They can affect our metabolism, and so then we become what's called like metabolically dysregulated as we get a little bit older. So that can have an impact on us. So there are many that can send us down that front. And then for other people, it's the flip side. You have people who are losing weight as they get older and losing muscle and wasting muscle. Two sides to the coin here.
Wow, fascinating. I think I fall into that latter category. I feel like I've actually lost weight over the years.
If people could see Janet too, they'd be going, oh my goodness, this is not a good thing. This woman is quite slim anyway and very bouncy.
Look who's talking. You are, baby, you are. And Naras, you are obviously taut, trim and terrific. So do you have a particular diet that you follow, like stringently?
Well, if you think about what I do for a living, I feel that I can't be an imposter on this front.
No.
So I'm under scrutiny. So what I can tell you is nobody invites me out for dinner anywhere ever. Nobody invites me none of my clients invite me for any fun stuff.
Oh no, this is not a good. This is a good sales kind of
terrible. Man, you're not
Bad pitch. Pitch.
Because it's like they know I've got to set this tone. I've got to sort of say this. I've got to walk the walk. Let's say.
Yeah.
As long as you don't bring your microscope and stuff to and take notes during the dinner, I feel like that would be fun. I think we should go out for dinner when you're in Sydney next. And we can take you to a Singaporean restaurant and have that lazy Susan situation, or I don't know, chili crab. So
actually, Naras can show us how to do everything in moderation.
Do you think that's the actual thing?
Well, let's just see what Naras would tell us about it. Like, I would love to go out to dinner with him and see actually how he does navigate something like a lazy Susan. Like, basically, does he let it revolve a lot?
Until things fly off.
Yeah. Or just very circumspect. Let's find out.
No, look, I do have strategies, and I feel obliged that I should do it. I also want to do it as well, and I completely understand that everybody is different, and some of us need more dalliances than others.
Oh,
but if you've
hang on,
got
what are we talking about now?
But if you've got an intention to do something, if you've got an intention to improve your health, if you've got an intention to improve heart health, then you have to do something. And then, how you choose to eat is going to be one of the major players.
Yeah.
And it's how often are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And so you've just got so many opportunities in a day to make either a good decision, a not so good decision, a neutral decision. And if you're thinking about it, then you're going to head yourself either in any one of those paths or directions.
So when you see the average middle-aged woman, what are you finding actually when you're interacting them? What kind of, so-called diets are they attracted to? And what would you actually suggest to them? Like, how do you negotiate that kind of situation with a middle-aged woman?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, we're always bombarded by what's new. And so it just depends who I'm speaking to and what's their world like. Who are they talking to? What podcasts are they listening to?
Hopefully us.
What's coming in on their Instagram feed?
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for a long time. So every single year, every 2 years, it's going to be whatever the new thing is, right? So at the moment when I talk to women, it will be, I'm really interested in intermittent fasting. So to what extent should I be doing that? Should I be doing 16-8? Should I be doing 18-6? Should I be doing one meal a day? Or they're saying to me, I've got to keep my carbs low because it's all about keto right now. So I've been trying a keto diet, and what should I be doing on that front?
Here we go again.
What it's the latest detox, and my personal trainer has told me that I should be taking my Vital Greens, and I'm not having any alcohol for the next month, right? So always there's that context first, because we all have a good idea of what it is that we should be doing. We may be doing some things or not, right? So they're the types of things that I'm hearing all the time. But again, as you said, the 40 plus and fabulous, stress eating comes up an awful lot.
Oh, yeah.
That one's one. How I feel in the late afternoon.
Yeah.
Why am I having these energy slumps?
Yeah.
I'm now working 2 shifts because I have my day job, and then I come home, I deal with the family, and then I'm back on the computer again until 11 o'clock at night. Why is it that I'm snacking crazily at 11 o'clock and then I can't sleep well, right? And so that's having an impact on how I choose to eat. It's this type of stuff, and then it's peeling all of those things away and coming up with strategies that are going to work for you.
Yeah, so you actually look at that specific person and what they're doing and all of their sort of circumstances, and and also their weak points. What do they indulge in?
I was going to say, it sounds very bespoke.
I'm intrigued because you're right. Like, I've noticed that too. Like, every couple of years there's like Paleo Pete, or there's this keto. I don't even know what keto is actually. But there's always an on-trend new diet, and a lot of people I know are on that 5 and 2 thing. Are any of them actually valid? Like, do they have their good points?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
They're all valid by the sounds of it. Yeah.
And most of them will have good points. And then it can be to what extent do I do it? Am I all in, right? Some people you're either all in and you're all out, right? Or am I going to do this 80% of the time? Or am I going to do it Monday to Friday and I'm going to ease off a little bit on the weekends?
That's the 80-20 diet.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my favourite.
Yeah, and so lots of them are coming from a place where they could do you some real good. There are others that perhaps we know we need to tread a little bit more carefully upon.
What's an example of that, Luke?
Okay, so one example might be that you've undertaken a keto eating pattern and you feel fantastic as a result, but you go and see your doctor and blood tests show some numbers with respect to heart health that really aren't looking so good. And now you're in a real dilemma. Feel fantastic. Body's responding beautifully, yet my health markers are saying red alert. What do I do?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So there's a dilemma that people can be up against. Other dilemmas might be, I'm doing everything that my trainer has told me and I'm eating in this intermittent fasting manner and nothing's happening. Or I jumped on my body fat monitor and I'm losing weight, but I'm losing muscle at an astounding rate, and I'm not losing as much body fat as I would like.
Yeah. I think
lots of
that's
these
a really interesting thing. I mean, they talk about like the yo-yo dieting, and a lot of people say, look, I've tried every single diet and none of them work. But so why is that? Like, how could you be on a specific diet and it doesn't actually work?
So there's lots of reasons. One could be that you're forgetting certain parts that, let's say, for example, you're doing a wonderful job, but you've got a great social life and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's more bottles of red wine than you'd like to talk
But
about.
it's got antioxidants, right? Is that right, Naras?
Actually, I have a good friend who really bought into the whole kind of 5-2 idea. But he was forgetting that on the days when you were meant to be eating a normal diet, you're meant to be eating kind of a modest normal diet, and he was making hay while the sun shone. Yeah.
So there could be things like that, or you think, you forget about some of the late night snacking, or you actually dig a little deeper and there's actually something fundamental going on and your thyroid function is subpar, or you're taking an antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication and it's having an impact on your metabolism. So there's lots of other things that can be at play, and that's not meaning that everybody struggles, but some people can think that they're doing the right thing and still not see a result.
Yeah.
And it just means need to dig a little bit deeper or find a way to really understand what's going on.
So it sounds like you could actually be a good weight but not actually have great nutrition. Is that right? Like some girlfriends I know, like they've suffered from like eating disorders in their childhoods and stuff like that, and now they kind of don't eat a lot, and they're very like slim and they look great. But yeah, one of my girlfriends in particular, I kind of worry that she's not actually eating enough nutrition, like not a balanced sort of diet.
Yeah, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. So
Thank you, Kate Moss, I believe. Is
that right?
Yeah, he's meant to have said that. Yeah.
Is that right? So, like, what would you do if someone comes to you? Is there and you can see that they're like, pretty trim and all that, but how do you find out whether they're getting kind of the right actual nutrition that they need for their age and stage, etc.?
Yeah. So, well, again, the tools of my trade is knowing, first of all, a background of the person, and I want to know how they eat, right? So if that sits at the fundamentals. So, and again, you don't need to see somebody like myself. We all know what we eat because we do it all day, every day, right? So most people are going to have a fair idea of whether they're eating in a roughly healthy manner, a horrendous manner, not at all, whatever it might be. No one's walking into this blind.
And is there sort of a key nutrient or vitamin that you see like a lot that's missing in the diets of women 40 plus?
Well, there are ones that women 40 plus need to think about. and it's not going to be just one, but it's going to be again in lots of different contexts. It might be a woman who is already starting to show signs of osteopenia, for example, and a breakdown of bone integrity. And for them, it might be calcium, vitamin D as something that we need to look for. It might be a woman who has adopted more vegetarian or vegan eating patterns and her energy levels are low and we really need to think about iron. It might be a woman who is predominantly vegetarian, doesn't eat much fish, inflammation is on the rise and it's their omega-3s. There's lots of key nutrients that may or may not be of importance and issue, depending on each person's sets of circumstance. An under-muscled woman who has just discovered Ozempic is the next greatest weight loss drug, and she's not eating very much, she's losing muscle, and she really should be thinking about her protein intake.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Hang on, Ozempic. All right,
Yes.
I don't know what that is. Like you guys probably do, obviously.
Well, actually, there are quite a few. So let's not target down just on one. There are quite a few, and actually, they're not bad. There are actually a few good drugs that are used now for people like who really do need to actually shed some kilos. So it'll have a good effect for a little while, and then you may, with a lot of this, actually, I'm sure Naras finds the same thing. People, unfortunately, it's not a set and forget. You can't just go, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it forever. But, you need a bit of a kind of multi-pronged approach where you do see fabulous informative people like Naras, and you do have a good relationship with your GP as well. And so, you can have appropriate blood tests and maybe go on something like Ozempic or one of the new agents. Mind you, they're quite expensive. They tend to be private scripts and not kind of just handed out willy-nilly. Anyway, is that enough on the drug front?
But what do they actually do? Like, how do they work?
They do slightly different things. Actually, Naras probably knows more about this than me because I'm not this kind of general practitioner anymore. So.
Okay, so what they are is they're a class of drugs called GLP-1 agonists. They've been on the market for quite some time, and they've been becoming, in a sense, better and better and better. And then they hit mainstream, and there's literally a worldwide shortage of them now, and they come under different names, and they keep being modified quite frequently, if anything, like updates of them. With these various updates, medical professionals can prescribe them for different reasons, but a lot of them originally were for people who were regulating blood sugar control and had type 2 diabetes, but they can now be used as a weight loss driver for people who've got a certain amount of body weight to lose or body fat to lose.
Who have the right amount of money and can get them currently on the black market.
Yes, right. But what do they do? Do they
So they do lots of things.
Feeling hungry?
They work at the brain level first at one point, so your desire to consume changes. They also have an impact on how your body goes about digesting food, so it can change on that front as well. It also has impact on various hormones that are secreted by the body, but the net result is that you generally end up consuming less calories in a day easily, and then lots of different markers of blood markers change favorably. In fact, it's anecdotal, but I think it's moving more on that front. It even has impacts on how people may choose or desire alcohol consumption and how much. So people lose weight, but coming back to food, you really then need to be careful about thinking, what am I eating? Because if you're eating significantly less, what are you eating less of? And at what cost is this coming at? Right? So if you're going to take these things, it's take them, but you need to think about your eating patterns. You need to think about your exercise patterns, possibly even more so than before, so that you don't end up 6 months later, 12 months later, weighing less and so much less muscle, how on earth are you going to ever get that back?
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we constantly hear this debate about what's the best way to lose weight, and some protagonists say, oh, it's all about exercise, and others are like, no, it's all about the diet. Do you reckon it is actually both, or is one more important than the other?
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
It's both. And I like to think of it as just levers that we have access to.
Yeah.
And those levers might be the medications that I'm taking, the supplements that I'm taking, the eating patterns that I'm choosing to have, the exercise that I need to be doing, the amount of sleep that I'm having. And in any given day or week, you're moving those levers up and down to try to compensate, to try to get where you want to go. And some people can't move one lever at all. You might be in a position where it's really it might be really difficult to exercise because you've got two very damaged ankles, or really have a lot of osteoarthritis, and that lever's now stuck. Or then you're going to need to work a lot harder on the other levers to get where you wanted to go.
It's good to have leverage, I always think.
Yeah.
It is. How fascinating is this?
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is really interesting. Like my kind of example being like in your 20s and kind of devouring everything, and it kind of just doesn't seem to touch the sides. Exactly.
Yeah.
And teenagers and all that stuff. But I became really conscious of that particular diet wasn't working for me when I sort of hit sort of 30-ish and 40-ish. That is a fact, right? So you can actually feel that something isn't doing you the best job anymore.
I think it's a really good idea. Every now and then you almost do a little bit of a review on yourself to say, where am I at? What is it that was working for me? Maybe it's not working for me now. Or having a good long look and saying, do I need to reframe a few things? And then part of that reframing might be how I'm choosing to eat, or jettisoning off or modifying some of the habits, or working towards some of the habits that used to be okay for me, or I used to be able to get away with, but now I can't. And it's an honest look and saying, oh, that's what I now need to address. Right. So I know personally I did that myself at a certain age.
What age, Naras? How old are you?
I did it when I turned 50.
Really?
So
are you 50?
Yes.
No.
I know. He's a very good advert. We're going to have him back to talk about longevity because, look, I'm telling you, this man looks...
He's a walking, talking example.
Yeah, he's a walking, talking example. Let's just leave it at that.
Sorry. We interrupted. Sorry.
But yes, so a kind of a review, right?
Okay.
And I think that's actually not a bad idea. But you see, people see their financial planners, and you look at the various stages you are in your life, and you need to be earning money now because you've got 2 children at school. But once you get through that part, what's next, right? It's a good idea to do that for yourselves sometimes. Some of us just do it naturally, and then others, it might have to be a little bit more of a conscious decision.
Yeah, I did it naturally when I started to fall asleep at the desk, and I thought,
there you are.
I've got to do something about this.
The all-night raves had to stop. Okay.
That's right. That had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. My last question, one more question.
Yes.
There's been a lot of stuff about food labelling these days, like on processed products in supermarkets and all that kind of thing. Do you think that that's been a really, really helpful initiative, or do you think that certain, that you have to be so kind of almost scientific and well-educated to be able to interpret that it's not actually helping people? What do you think about it?
I'll throw it back to yourself. So do both of you look at labels carefully, or not at all, or only a little bit?
No, really, I only look at the main label that says like low fat.
Do you? Right?
Yeah. But then I've heard that, that usually equates to added sugar to make it taste better.
Yes. There are so many messages coming from all fronts, really.
Yeah. So
to be perfectly honest, I just ignore them all now. But a lot of people wouldn't be like me. So
Yeah, but I wonder, if it's kind of made it more difficult for people to eat healthier food, or should you just basically stick to fresh food and just buy a little bit of processed food and then just live with that?
Yeah, so you could be very simple and say if it's in a packet, I'm looking at the label or I've already bought something that's in a packet. And if it wasn't in a packet, then it didn't need a label. So already I've got like a default win here. So you can
Nice
be
one.
as blunt as yes or no, packet or not packet. And then it might be within the packet, what am I looking for? And then the nice thing is in Australia, you've got a very clear labeling system. You've got, therapeutic goods, and you've got all these rules so that marketing messages need to be somewhat careful, and that all the information that you need to know is there if you want it. And you can go as granular as you like. And people are going to fall anywhere in I'm just looking at the front, and if it says
macaroni,
tastes awesome, to the 14th thing down in the ingredients list that says, I have a intolerance towards E37 and I can't have this, right? But the scope is all there. But the good thing is that it's all there in the label. If you need it, want it, and we can all educate ourselves. But I bet less people are going to listen to a podcast on the ins and outs of a label versus.
I don't know. I was just about to suggest to Jan that we have you back and we talk about how you can eat packaged food
and still.
Because I'm just thinking some people are very, very committed to it just for
Very
ease.
committed. Yes.
Yeah. And we should have a kind of episode on how to
1-minute
eat
noodles.
smartly, but how to eat smartly, but packaged food.
Yeah, how to live on MSG. I just have one more cheeky question for you, Naras, because we love talking to you and we can't let you go.
We'll have him back.
Yeah, okay, we'll have him back. But if you're going to have a cheeky, sneaky treat, what treat would you have?
Oh, this is my sneaky treat.
Yes.
I like dark chocolate bullets.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. I would never have thought that of you. Looking at you.
That's my favourite. That's my favourite thing.
Actually, sounds
of
pretty
all
good to
time.
me too.
Yeah, sounds good. Are they the ones with the licorice inside?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, right. And but because you're a nutritionist, do you just have like one?
Oh, it's so sad. Okay, so
Count
I have
them out.
three.
But do you have them every day? And look, I was going to say, that's actually great. No. This is great. This is gold, Naras. You have 3, but do you have them every day? Because actually there's no guilt involved.
Do you have them consecutively?
Yes.
Yes. See,
I
he
really
has
look
them every
forward.
day.
I really look forward to them. So in our house at the
Nice.
moment, it's either the dark chocolate bullets, and I'm not trying to sell products here, but I don't know if you're. It's like an old man's chocolate. Do you remember?
Yeah, sure.
Old gold. Do you
Yes,
remember
yes.
Old gold.
I do.
I think it's still around.
It is still
is
around
still
somewhere.
around.
Yeah.
So, or 2 squares of original old gold.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Love it.
Lovely.
Right? And that just seals the end of my day.
I can remember a friend of mine saying to me, when we were having babies and so everyone was concerned about losing weight, she said, I really love chocolate. What am I going to do? And I said, why don't you just have a little bit every day, like actually go and buy just a small Freddo and that's it.
There's no such thing as a small Freddo.
Yeah. And there used
should
to be.
be.
Yeah,
A
well, there
tadpole.
used to be. Anyway, and I can remember her eyes just glazed over. I could tell that she was not taking it in. But it is the kind of 3-bullet principle. It's a 3-bullet principle.
It's the silver bullet.
You
for
can do
everyone.
it every day if it's a very, very, small, controlled, enjoyable amount. And you may as well choose wisely. Naras is choosing wisely.
Which is great. It's great if you're not an all-in or all-out, right? So if you're an all-in, all-out person and you've got your bag of bullets, and then 30 minutes later you're in a bullet coma because you just couldn't stop, then maybe the nightly hit is not going to work for you. So again,
Which is the beauty of the small Freddo, because it's only one tiny, weeny little packet, and then you can't do anything else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Not the giant
Anywho.
ones. Well, Naras, it has just been absolutely fascinating talking to you. It's been delicious. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you,
on
Naras.
She Wasn't Born Yesterday. Gorgi, thanks for listening in today. We hope you enjoyed this ep.
But we'd really love to hear more from you. We'd love to know exactly what you actually think of us and our guests.
So if you're on Spotify, you can rate us. We love stars. And on Apple Pods, write us a little blurb. Let us know what you think, and hopefully we can keep going. Apple loves their algorithms, and we love you. So thanks for listening. We really enjoy your company.
See you next week on She Wasn't Born Yesterday.
Hope 1032. Thanks for listening.